Hello and welcome along to another episode of this FM19 story, The Head Coach with me, Daniel. It's Season 3, Episode 1, and today we play our first game of the National League South season away at Weston Supermare, and I've got to be honest, I may have been a little bit optimistic when I said I'd finally found a home here, because the summer has not quite gone to plan. So obviously we were quite positive heading into the summer window after keeping Slough up comfortably last year. But if we go and look at our squad this season, it's not particularly strong. And that's because if we go first to our transfers, you'll see that people are rejecting us left, right and centre. Goalkeepers we'll come back to in a second. But in terms of transfers in, we've only had 5, despite a few players being released. So Luke Rowe was our backup left back last year. He was about the 4th highest earner at the club, so he had to go. The director of football didn't offer him a new deal, and as a result he left the club. Our first choice goalkeeper, Will Henry. We mentioned not having a goalkeeper with good reflexes was going to be a problem. Unfortunately, he didn't want to sign a new deal anyway, so he left the club entirely. So if we look at the players in, you'll be very disappointed to see it's just the 5. Firstly, we've got Jack Batten, probably the best of the bunch this summer. A 3-star defender with 4.5-star potential, a natural at centre-half but can cover competently at left or right back. He's played at Havant and Waterlooville and Bath before, plenty of games at this level, and he's very much a solid player to go in alongside Okadina, who we're pleased to announce has stayed, as well as the rest of the outfield players from last season. So not a bad start to the window, but unfortunately it only got worse from there. We did sign a goalkeeper, Sam Riches, brought in as a backup player on non-contract terms. He's a 2-star ability keeper with 3.5-star going up to 4.5 potential. Unfortunately, he's the only goalkeeper at the club at first team level, and I think the only goalkeeper on the books bar a youngster. It looks like our director of football's been aiming a bit high because the 2 or 3 he's been linked with, we keep getting inbox messages to say they won't discuss terms with the club. So that must have gone wrong at some point. I can see I've lost my training reports again here. They keep changing every time I switch saves. I can't really get to grips with it. I'll try and set it as that and hopefully it will stay that way for now. If we move on to the third signing, just a backup striker. Stevens left at the end of last season. We'd fallen out and he decided to leave the club of his own accord. Tavares is a 2-star ability striker with 4.5-star potential, was available on non-contract terms from Boston and our director of football picked him up. Another one who can play as a pressing forward and an advanced forward, so gives us options if nothing else, but won't be starting any time in the near future. Next along the list we've got Caden Williams-Lowe, a 19-year-old right back who technically is the best one at the club, but mentally he's all over the place. He's a poor trainer and he's not one that's going to be starting straight away for us ahead of the professional Atkinson. He's a young player who's very quick and good physically across the board, but in other areas he leaves a lot to be desired, and as a result he's only going to be on the bench for me to start the season. But a youngster from QPR and he's got plenty of potential, and we've already got him in a training group with Atkinson to try and sort out his personality. And last but not least is Ken Charles, the next best after Batten, a young striker. He's on loan from Colchester till the end of the season. We're not contributing anything, which is great, and he's quick, he's composed and he's a good finisher. So if it wasn't for Jatta, he'd probably be starting automatically. But one of the good things that did happen after the last episode is Pape Gay did get a work permit for a new deal. So Charles has to settle for a place on the bench for now. He spent the end of last season at relegated Salisbury, didn't score a goal in that one, but I have no doubts he'll become a first choice striker soon. It's just whether Gay comes out of the team or Jatta moves on to the left, as it's another position we haven't had a replacement in. So if we go and have a look at our squad ahead of today's game, you can see it's particularly short. Riches is the only goalkeeper available to us. We did manage to extend the loans of Dearman and Ramirez. Our director of football obviously valued what they did last season. Joe Lindley's thrown a wobbly because another right back was brought in. Again, I can't do much about that, not having a say in the transfers. The only interesting one I've got left is Luke Strachan. He was here last season and barely got a kick for us. He's only a 2-star current ability player, but he had offers over the summer from clubs like Rochdale in League One. He's picking up a lot of interest from the Football League. He keeps rejecting the club, so I don't know whether he's got a lack of ambition. You can see he's got a low determination, so it's not beyond the realms of possibility. But we'll start him on the bench and try and get him some action on the pitch this season, and hopefully he'll stay with us and develop. Lastly, we're expected to finish in a safe mid-table position. If we go and have a look at the competition itself, we can see what the media expect of us this year. We were looking at the start of the season at about 11th place and it's just dropped down to 12th now. So they're expecting us to be the top of the bottom half. And if we could finish in that position, I'd be absolutely delighted. I don't know what's going on at the top there. There's 7 teams that are evens to get promoted. But nevertheless, it looks like the top 8 are not going to be caught. And we're very much going to be in that middle bunch between 9th and 16th. Which would be quite a successful season after last year. And we'd probably take any position between those places now. But let's get into the first game. We're at Weston Supermare. They're expected to finish one place below us in the league according to the media, so this is going to be a very even game, and the odds for the match reflect that as well. The team's fairly predictable and very similar to last year as a result of the lack of changes. I think the only debutants today are Riches in goal because I have no other option, and Batten at centre half, who just edges out Rossi from last season because he's a bit better physically and's got a bit more experience. It also gives us further options if we get an injury or something like that during the game. A couple of the other new signings, Ken Charles and Williams Lower sitting on the bench. They might make their debuts today. And we've got Strachan and Kane, two of the other youngsters we're looking to get football to, particularly Kane who came through at the club. So the lineup today is Riches in goal. We've got Atkinson and Dearman at fullback, with Batten and Okadina in the middle. Fairlam and Daly are the wingers, with Bridge and McCarker in the middle. The same midfield four that played first choice when we were here last season. And Gay and Jatta the unchanged front two, though Ken Charles will be knocking on the door if Gay has a poor start to the season. Let's get into the game. We haven't changed the tactics or anything since last season. There's no need to. We've got a very similar 11 out. So hopefully we'll be able to perform well, like we did until the last two games, where we rotated the side quite a bit. Again, not sure if it's realistic, but Weston Supermare have got a lovely looking stand behind the goal there. If we've got two teams playing a standard 4-4-2, and hopefully we'll just go toe to toe and get a point out of it. If we can get a result on the first day, we'll be happy. A bumper crowd there in the main stand, and there was a lovely seated area behind one of the goals, so hopefully that'll be full too. Weston Supermare go for a long kick down the field, and it's knocked away by Okadina towards Atkinson. Bridge brings it to McCarker long over the top, and the highlight ends at 0-0. Nearly 15 minutes in, not much action, but Bridge has a free kick now into the side netting and it doesn't cause the keeper any trouble. But he's got another one now on the opposite side. It's blocked by the wall, but McCarker gets it back to Bridge. McCarker in the middle again switches it to Daly. Daly with a long ball over the top, but it's straight into the gloves of Ormson. And Weston Supermare survive very comfortably, and there's not been much action so far. A long clearance by Ormson finds the front two. They've combined lovely there, and Phipps has the shot, but it's gone just wide of the far post, and their first effort in anger goes wide. Just 10 minutes till half time. It's a free kick from Byrne. It's gone over the bar and there's not really many highlights in this match. All we're seeing is the odd free kick go wide or over. I've got to mention Jack Bridge, a player who's not rated as well as the loanee Ramirez, as we see a wonderful save, or was it flicked off him and then put over the bar? Jack Bridge is actually rated worse than Ramirez, but mentally he's so much stronger and we need a couple of characters in the team. So as a result, I've kept Bridge in, and again he's got that versatility of being able to play anywhere across the midfield. So another one that we want to have in our 11, just in case of disaster. Swallow with a cross to the back post. They've got it in across the box, but it's cleared. Jatta on the counter now. Can we create a chance on the stroke of half time? Gay's in one-on-one. Tipped wide by Ormson. A fantastic save. And only the second shot on target in the match. And the first for us. And with a minute of the stoppage time gone, it's into the back post. Batten loses out in the air, and that is half time. An awful half that could have finished brilliantly for us. But at the break, it's 0-0. And to be honest, we'd be quite happy with a dull 0-0 on the first day of the season, just to make sure we get our confidence up. Bridge with a free kick 5 minutes into the second half. Again, it's into the side netting, and they're the only highlights we're seeing, which shows just how bad a game it's been. Gay's had a really poor game up front, so we are going to give Ken Charles a go soon, but we're just going to see out this highlight first. Weston Supermare winning a lot of the flick downs from the goal kicks. Lawrence on the right hand side inside to Byrne. Byrne's got plenty of time, gets it back out to Lawrence again and into Kane in the middle. They're getting a little bit too much time in midfield, which we're not a big fan of. Lawrence on the right hand side, again the three of them just playing it between themselves. They're not really creating much, which is great, but Phipps wins the flick on, but it's straight into the arms of Riches. They say it's a lovely move, but it didn't really create anything. We've got to deal with Phipps' aerial threat. Again, he's won about 10 headers before that's come up, so our assistant manager a little bit slow to react there. But McCarker gets the ball to Gay. He goes to Atkinson, who goes down the right-hand side to Daly. Jatta's in the middle if he can find him. He does. Jatta with the header, and it's a good save by Ormson, and he holds it at the second attempt. An hour gone, and we're going to make that change up front. Pappy Gay's had a really poor game, so we're going to bring on Ken Charles up top. He's coming on for Gay, and I think he's going to go into the advance role. And then we're going to put Jatta as the pressing forward on the left-hand side. They seems to be able to do the role quite comfortably, so hopefully that won't cause us any trouble. The only other thing we are going to have to change, because it's a bit more similar to our Torquay formation now in part of the furniture, is we're going to go to whipped crosses instead of floated balls in, because we haven't got that aerial presence up top now. I don't think there's anything else that's affected by that, so we'll just go straight back into the game as a result. We'll leave the other two subs for now. We're not in a rush. We know one of our other weaker players is Fairlam on the left wing, so Strachan might get a go for him, as we haven't got many other options there. It's a throw-in on the right-hand side for Weston Supermare. Ash on the right wing's got to the byline. He's got a ball inside to Lawrence. We've gone for a swinger in the left-back area. We've got away with a couple of ridiculous mishits there. And thankfully, Riches makes the save and it's behind for a corner. Swallow with the in-swinger knocked away by Charles. And he's out for a throw-in on their right-hand side. We're into the last 20 now. We will make the other changes in a minute. Burn to Lawrence to the back post. Daly heads away. But again, their first to it. We're a little bit slow and sluggish in the middle. Burn's got time again to get out to Franklin on that right-hand side. Lawrence gets the ball back to Burn on the edge and Kane. They've got it out to the left now with a quick switch to Swallow. He's been their danger man so far. Phipps knocks it back to Burn. Deflects to Phipps. And Riches, to be fair to him, has made another good save. And we can get on the counter now with Daly down the right. Daly's got Charles down the line, but it's a really poor pass. He needed to get that in front of him and didn't. And with 15 minutes to go, we're going to make the last couple of changes. Bridges had a poor game, so we're going to bring Ramirez on. I'm not sure which one's better in which role, so we'll have a quick look at them to see which is best at which. I don't know if either of them are particularly good in the box-to-box role, and I think it's much of a muchness, to be honest. We're just going to see who's better in the tackle and put them in the defensive role. Ramirez is going to be box-to-box, Makaka's going to be deep-lying, and hopefully Ramirez's pace can get in the box on the counter-attack. We are also going to give Strachan a go on the left of midfield. He's not natural in that position, but he is on the left attacking wing, so hopefully he'll be able to do some damage from there. But we want to give him some game time because he has got a lot of potential, and as we mentioned in the summer, there were Football League clubs after him. I don't know if Jatta would be better on the left wing, but I don't really want to lose our goal scoring threat. Let's just have a look to see. There is absolutely no difference. So Strachan will stay on the left of midfield and we'll get back into the last 15 minutes. He's a throw-in on the left for Weston Supermare. Swallow gets it back to Burn on the edge. He's going to have a shot. He's hit the crossbar. It's absolutely thundered off the bar, sorry. Riches with the save at the second attempt and he's delighted to be picking that ball up from in front of the line. They've got a free kick in an attacking position into the last 10 now. Lucas on the edge with a strike, deflects off Atkinson and behind for a corner. And we're very much hanging on at this point. There's not long to go, but I can see us conceding a late one at this rate. It's nice to see we've got that lovely seated area behind the goal, but there's not many fans to enjoy it. The ball's knocked away, Lawrence is being closed down, but he's got so much time to go backwards, and he finds Franklin the centre half. Long ball over the top, but the highlight ends, and now we finally get a warning to close the winger down. Just because we're into the last 5 minutes, we are going to change things up now. We're going to do that usual time waste, be more disciplined, slow the ball down when the keeper's got it, just to try and get a point, because it would be a good result based on this performance. We've got another bit of analysis to close down that centre forward Phipps, and we're into 3 minutes of stoppage time without incident. They've got a corner, it's surely going to be the last touch of the game. It's headed away as far as Thompson on the edge. Daly wins it back and the whistle goes. A really boring, poor game, a 0-0 draw, but we're delighted to get a point on the first day of the season against a team who are going to be in and around our position at the end of the year. Let's go and speak to the lads. We're not going to tell them it was disappointing. We're just going to say it was unlucky because they did alright. A couple of them listened keenly. Not much of a reaction other than that. But you wouldn't expect so after a game like that. There can't be many people who are particularly pumped after it. Let's go and quickly look at what they've said about the game. I don't think we should count ourselves that fortunate. Bar the one effort that thundered off the crossbar, it was a pretty tame game from both sides. Apparently the fixture was marred by a succession of fouls by Weston Supermare, but most of the free kicks we saw were from them as well, so we must have committed our fair share of fouls. Batten and Riches made the debuts for Slough, both did okay, but I'll be hoping we have a better keeper than Riches by the time the next episode comes around. If we go and have a look at the schedule, there should be a few big games in the league this year. I know there's a big doubleheader coming up between Dulwich Hamlet and Dartford, but it's just a bit too soon, so we will leave it a little longer, and I know exactly when we're going to be coming back. Either for the FA Cup qualifying second round, depending on who it's against, or for the Hemel Hempstead game. Going back to my old club where it all started and we got sacked within 3 months, I can't leave that fixture out, and hopefully we'll be able to get a bit of revenge there. Although they have got the superstar Scrimshaw up front, I think he's still at the club, is he? He is. He's injured though. How long's he out for? 12 days, so he'll be well and truly back for that one. But that will be all for this first episode of the third season. If you did enjoy it, please put a thumbs up on the video. Let me know in the comments early doors, where do you think we're going to finish this season? Get your predictions in. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager content from this head coach story, as well as our other series, Part of the Furniture with Torquay United. But a massive thanks for watching this one as always, and we'll see you next time.